right, everybody. We are going to start right at 6 o'clock. I did pop on here a little bit early to say hello. So if anybody's out there, let me know where you are watching from. Like I said, we will get started promptly at 6. Got some really great information this evening that I am very excited to share with you. All right, we are live on Facebook as well as YouTube. So again, if you are here, I would love to know. So go ahead and put where you are coming from, watching from. I imagine a good chunk of you may be from Colorado, as that is where I am from. But if you've got somewhere else that you are currently chilling, I would love to hear about it. All right. We've got about 10 more minutes and then we're going to get started. Next time, I think I will have music because that would be a lot more fun. I'm just saying. All righty then. Guys are shy tonight. That's okay. I've got enough pep for everybody. We'll be good. Oh, no, that's not what I was looking for. All righty then. Okay, 9 minutes. We definitely need music. I apologize for that. All right, Tom, I see your comment. Thanks very much for reaching out. It's always good to have spousal support. Just to warn you, the YouTube feed seems to be very slow. And so, of course, it only freezes when I'm making the most awful faces. So I apologize for that ahead of time. All right, it's not frozen anymore. And now I can hear me. So there we go. It's working. Awesome. Okay, I'm really excited for tonight to pour into you all about the reasons behind why we keep starting over. And if I look over here, it's because I'm looking at myself. I'm sorry. I know that that's incredibly vain sounding, but shiny object. And I'm moving, so it catches my eye. So I apologize. Okay. Definitely music next time. Definitely music. All right, I'm going to move this over. Can you guys hear me okay? Does it sound all right? All righty. Oh, my least favorite thing is waiting. I'm not very good at it. I know patience is a virtue, but I'm pretty sure it's not one of mine. That's okay. But I also know that it's Thursday night. It's 6 p.m., almost 6 p.m., and people are coming home from work and they're getting dinner on the table, maybe doing homework with kids. And so, really want to respect the time, start on time. So, I'm not going to start early. Um, Although I'm dying to get started because I have a lot of really great information for you. But we only have 3 minutes. And then we will get started. Hello to everybody that is joining from YouTube. Hello, everybody that is joining from Facebook. Eventually, I will get it on Instagram, but it's a little bit more complicated of a process. And so I got to figure that out, which I will do. But right now, if you found me on YouTube or Facebook, then that is absolutely perfect. And that's all going to work out real well. All right, 1 minute. Now I'm getting ready to go. All right. It is 6 p.m. It is Thursday night. And thank you so much for joining me. My name is Amber Contreras. I'm a certified health and nutrition coach. I was a teacher for over 20 years. And thank you so much for joining me tonight. Tonight, the our topic is called Why You Keep Starting Over and What to Do About it. This is actually a topic that is super near and dear to my heart. Because when I first started this journey, my mentor asked me, how many diets do you think you've been on? And I was like, well, it's been about 40 years. I'm guessing a lot. So I actually sat down and just tallied all the ones I could name, right? I came up with 26 different names of diets that I had done. And most of them I had done several different times, which is exactly why we're talking tonight about what we're talking about, because I don't think I'm alone. So if you are feeling brave in the chat, please put how many diets off the top of your head you can name that you've tried ever in your life. For me, again, it was 26, but I had done them many times over. And again, I was restarting. All right. So let me start with this. The reason that you keep starting over, honestly, doesn't start with what you're putting on your plate. Now, don't hear me wrong. What you eat absolutely matters. It is important. And that's actually not where we start. And I know that might sound super confusing because most programs jump straight into the meal plan and they send you on your way. But there is a very solid reason that I don't just hand you a meal plan and say, good luck. Let me know how it turns out for you. And it's not because I don't trust you to follow the plan. That's not it at all. It's actually because I do trust you to follow the plan. The problem isn't that you don't know what to do. The problem is that something actually keeps getting in the way. It gets in the way of you doing something consistently. And tonight, that's what we're going to unpack. Now, while we're chatting, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the comments. And if I don't get to them right away, I promise I will get to them at the end. Ask questions. There's no dumb or silly questions, because if you have it, you have a need to know and you deserve to know. All right. So, where we start, if we're not starting with food, is something I like to call the 3 B's. It's your brain, your behaviors, and your biology. And I promise we're not getting a super duper science lesson. But it is really important, because if you don't understand all three and the way that they actually all work together, you're going to keep thinking that it's a willpower problem. And I promise you, it's not. So, if we're not starting with what's on your plate, where do we start? Great question. We start here with your brain. Sorry, I'm getting there. I'm almost there. I promise. Someday I'm going to have a tech person that helps me with all this amazing stuff. That is not this day. But before any behavior ever happens, before you eat something, skip something, start something, quit something, there's a thought. And most of us have been running the same thoughts for years. We have beliefs like, well, I just need to try harder, or I have no willpower, or I always mess this up, or this is the kicker. This time, it has to be perfect. Here's the problem. When you believe that what you are doing has to be perfect, you are subconsciously making it impossible to be successful and to sustain anything. There is not a human being in the world that is 100% perfect all the time. You look at any goat, greatest of all time, they were not perfect 100% of the time. Now, they were perfect a whole lot of times. I will not argue that. Most of us are not running around with a goat necklace on, right? So, suffice it to say that when we set up that expectation that we have to be perfect, we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot. And when we decide that we have to be perfect and when we're not perfect, we've done something wrong, we tend to really not be very nice to ourselves. And so the next thing I want to talk about is actually the way we do talk to ourselves. Most people will say things to themselves in their own brain that they would never say out loud to another human, let alone someone that they love, right? I mean, I don't want you to put it in the chat because it's very personal, but think about some of the things that you've said to yourself. It doesn't feel great and it's not amazing, right? Yeah. So, if you are messing up, because we're going to learn that's not what's going on. But when you feel like you have to stop and then start over again, very often you can ask, what is wrong with me? And then again, it's all that really negative self-talk that just brings you down. But what I'm here to tell you is that there is nothing wrong with you and that it's not a food problem. It's a brain pattern. Then we have information overload. We've got experts to say, cut all the carbs. And then we've got others that say, eat more carbs. Don't eat after 7. Try fasting. Track everything. Don't track anything. How do you do all of those at one time? You don't. And so you wonder, I guess it's like, it's no wonder that you feel stuck, because who do you listen to and how do you know who's right? And you can ask yourself that same thing about me. And I welcome that because I'd love to have a conversation. What I teach is based in science, and a lot of diets are based in science, but this one is designed for your body to thrive, to heal and thrive. That's the part I'm super excited to tell you all about. Okay. So really, we start every diet or healthy plan because let's say that you don't necessarily want to lose weight, but you want to just eat healthier. Okay, well, what does that mean? So you start with good intentions. Um, and then, regardless of your good intentions, your beliefs kick in, your negative self talk kicks in, that confusion comes back, and it starts running the show. Okay. And so, when your brain is operating from that place, your behaviors will follow. Okay. Beliefs like, oh, my tech person should have changed the slide. I apologize, but let me go back real quick for a second because the brain one was super cute, I think. Okay, so again, there's that negative talk, the beliefs, the information overload, the feelings, the uncertainty. All of this stuff is rolling around in our brains. Okay. That is, oh, goodness, go back. There you go. And so now, when all of that is happening in your brain, this is what it turns into. These are the patterns that most people don't even realize that they are stuck in. Okay. You've got the all or nothing. You started strong, you were motivated, you were on track, and then something happened. Something small, like you had an off meal, a busy day, it was stressful, life showed up, and suddenly it's not just one moment, it's I blew it. So you go from all in to completely off. Then, if we've gone completely off, then we start over, right? And you find yourself starting over again and again and again. Mondays start to feel like a personality trait, right? And then decisions. You skip a meal, and so your energy crashes. And now you're not choosing, you are reacting. Cravings hit, you grab whatever is fast, and afterwards you are like, oh man, why did I do that? Negative self talk. You get angry with yourself, right? Then also the overthinking. And this one is where you're constantly thinking about what to eat, what you can eat, what you can't eat, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. But all of this is actually causing you to not take any action because there's too much thinking involved. And it feels like if you can't do it perfectly, then why even start? Right? From the inside out, this looks like inconsistency, but it's not random. And it's not a lack of discipline. These behaviors are a direct reflection of what's actually going on in your brain. And so on your screen, you are seeing the cognitive triangle. And this is that our thoughts, and it doesn't always start with thoughts, but our thoughts dictate our feelings, or our feelings are going to dictate our thoughts, right? And those dictate our behaviors. Or we have a thought, we feel a way about it, and then that dictates our behavior. So really, they all work together. And it's what you say to yourself, it's how you're feeling, and how that informs what your next behavior move is. Okay. So, okay. So here we go. Again, I'm going to give myself a tech person. That would be amazing. Okay. So, what we are talking about now is, oh, I skipped ahead. Great balls of fire. Okay, so in addition to your brain and your behaviors is your biology. Okay, there is a third piece. It is biology, and specifically, we're talking about blood sugar. Okay, so when your blood sugar isn't stable, it doesn't just affect your body, it affects your brain and your behaviors too. And let me pause for a second. Anybody who just in their brain said, well, I'm not diabetic, why do I care about blood sugar? I hate to break it to you. Literally every single human being on the planet that eats has to worry about their blood sugar. So you eat, your blood sugar spikes, and then it drops. And when it drops, your brain goes into panic mode. And that's a moment where you feel like, I was fine. And now I need something. Right? And that afternoon crash, excuse me, that afternoon crash, that nighttime snack, that's not a willpower issue. That's a biological response to low blood sugar. Blood sugar also impacts your hormones. Behind the scenes, your hormones are responding to all of this: your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors, and your blood sugar instability. The insulin is telling your body to store fat. Cortisol is your stress hormone. It's increasing your cravings and making everything feel more urgent. And now that's not just in your head, but your body is literally feeling everything you are thinking. Okay. And over time, your body starts to adapt. It slows things down, it slows down your metabolism. Because it is trying to protect you, it is going to hold on to fat. It's going to store it as a means to protect you. Your metabolism is going to slow down so that it burns less efficiently because it wants to make sure that it doesn't run out of food. And so, if you have ever found yourself saying, I'm barely eating anything and I'm not losing any weight, this isn't working, there's a reason, and we're going to talk about that. So, oh, yeah. So it actually reminds me, let me go back real quick. I missed a part. Um, okay. So, sorry, I'm almost there. Okay. Because there was something I forgot to say. Okay. So, something that is really important to know about our bodies. And it makes total sense, but honestly, until I really started digging into this, I didn't, this wasn't even in the front of my mind. Your body has one job. Your body's job is to keep you alive. That's it. Its job is not to make you skinny. It's not to make things convenient. It's just to keep it alive. And so every process that happens in your body is for that exact purpose. So when I first heard that, it actually reminded me of, do you guys remember the Fraggle Rock back from the 80s? It was on HBO. And there was these little like green creatures. You see it on the screen, and they were called dozers. Okay. And they just kept building over and over and over again. No matter how many times the Fraggles came in and knocked it all down, they didn't get frustrated and they didn't quit. They didn't say, ugh, this isn't working. They just kept rebuilding because that's exactly what they were designed to do. And your body does the exact same thing. When your blood sugar crashes, your body goes, oh gosh, we need to fix this right now. So it drives hunger. It increases cravings. It pushes you to eat quickly. Not because you're failing, but literally because your body is doing its job. Your body isn't broken. It is committed to keeping you alive, no matter what you do to it or what you put into it. So let's dig a little bit deeper into blood sugar. Okay. Oh, sorry about that. And what actually is going on in your body. Okay. When your blood sugar isn't stable, we know that it impacts our body. It affects your brain and your behaviors. Okay. So when your blood sugar spikes, and that is going to be from eating carbohydrates. And we'll talk about that because I love carbohydrates, and so will you. And they are good. They are your energy source. They are crazy important. And you have to be intentional with them. Okay. So, when, like, for example, I'm not even talking candy. If you grab an apple because you're eating healthy and you eat that apple, it's going to spike your blood sugar. Not because there's anything wrong with that apple, but because carbohydrates convert to glucose in your body. When your body has nothing to balance that out, your blood sugar goes up. And the more refined the sugar is, the higher it spikes. So you have high spikes, and then when they spike high, your blood sugar is going to crash pretty quickly. What goes up must come down, and it comes down really fast. Now, where blood sugar will go low without you eating a carb and it's spiking first is when you haven't eaten yet. And you can feel that. You kind of feel a little shaky, you're a little bit low on energy. That's when your blood sugar is going low. Okay? When your blood sugar goes low, your body, that is a fuel as it goes machine. Okay. So it's kind of like your car. If you put gas in your car, it runs, right? And when it needs gas, if you don't put gas in your car, it stops. Luckily, we've got a pretty amazing bodies and they don't stop as quickly as our car will. So when our blood sugar is low, our body says, hey, I need food because my job is to keep you alive. And so it goes to the most nutrient dense part of your body, which is your muscle. And it will use your muscle for fuel. It may use a teeny bit of stored fat, but really it doesn't really want that. It goes for your muscle. Okay. So oftentimes when you go on a caloric deprivation diet or you are fasting and you are losing weight, you probably are losing a little bit of fat, but the majority of what you're actually losing is muscle mass. Why that's problematic is that muscle mass feeds your metabolism. And as you lose muscle mass, your metabolism goes down. Now, muscle mass is very important for things like longevity, osteoporosis, osteopenia, things of that nature. But important to note that once you get into your 50s and above, you lose about, I think it's 10% of your muscle every decade. So you're already naturally losing it because you're aging, right? So let's not help it out by also not feeding our bodies. Okay. That green area, it says ideal, and it says ideal for a reason. Homeostasis is what our bodies are craving. Homeostasis, there's a big high school science word, is everything is in balance. So when your blood sugar is balanced, your body doesn't have to work to bring it down. It doesn't have to work to bring it up. And it actually doesn't have to do anything at all because it is balanced. Now, is it true that your blood sugar will balance itself out? Yes. And if that's all your body is doing all day is stabilizing your blood sugar because of everything you keep eating or not eating, your body will be exhausted and it won't have time to do anything else to keep you healthy and alive because the blood sugar is the most acute thing that you've got going on. Okay. So when you are in homeostasis, your body can breathe. It starts to trust you. It knows that you're going to feed it on regular increments and that you're going to feed it a blood sugar stabilizing diet. And so it doesn't have to worry about those blood sugar spikes and crashes. And it can focus on other things that are going on in your body, including releasing stored fat. It's actually a byproduct of a healthy body. And so that's what this is all about, is really talking about how we go after health through blood sugar stabilization and all of the amazing health impacts that it really has. Okay. When we stabilize our blood sugar, everything starts to change. Our energy becomes more steady. Our cravings calm down. And our body, again, it stops panicking. And for the first time, you are actually able to follow through with something consistently because you don't have the blood sugar spikes, the negative self-talk, and the thoughts that lead you into self-sabotage. Okay. So I'd like you to take a look at this list. This is actually just like the check engine light of your car, except that it's for your body. So I'd love for you to take a look at these symptoms, and they're all very common things. Sometimes people call them aging. Uh, they call them all sorts of different things. But what is all related to is glucose in your bloodstream, AKA blood sugar. So, how many of those on there do you have? And how many of them surprised you? Like, I had no idea that that would be related. Because I know I did that when I looked at this list. I was like, I had no idea that that would even be a thing that was associated with blood sugar. Okay, so again, we talked about this, that weight loss is a byproduct of a healthy body. And so rather than weight gain actually being the problem, it's a symptom of health and hormones. And when our health and our hormones are off, and I'm not just talking about female hormones, I'm talking insulin, glucagon, the things that we all have, men and women. When those are dysregulated, weight gain is one of the symptoms. So you can figure out that if you are starting to gain weight or any of those other symptoms that were on the page before, any of these symptoms, that quite likely your blood sugar is dysregulated. Now, why does that matter? Well, it matters for a lot of reasons. There is something called the modern day health pyramid scheme. Actually, my mentor came up with that, but I thought it was genius. So I'm sharing it with you. The base of this pyramid is the dysregulated blood sugar. Okay. This is not only talking about your A1C. Your A1C is kind of like your final number ish, but your your regulated or dysregulated blood sugar on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, is what we really do want to pay close attention to. Now, if you've been able to get your A1C down, that is amazing. And one way you get that down is by keeping your blood sugar stable throughout the day. Okay. So when you have chronic dysregulated blood sugar, and I would say that if you are not intentionally making sure that you're eating to stabilize your blood sugar, you're probably unintentionally spiking your blood sugar every time you eat. Also, when you skip meals, okay? That's going to be a poor diet, chronic stress, eating lots of processed foods, not having a good night's sleep, um, all blood sugar dysregulation. Okay. And that is going to lead to cellular dysfunction. Okay. So that's where our cells are not working the way that they should be. When cellular dysfunction kicks in, that's when we start having these symptoms. That's when our check engine light comes on. And I'll tell you, ladies, hot flashes, not a foregone conclusion just because menopause is happening. A lot has to do with your cellular dysfunction due to a dysregulated blood sugar. Okay. If you have these symptoms for an extended period of time, they start to move your body into metabolic dysfunction. This is things like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, insulin resistance, PCOS, thyroid issues, could be chronic pain, non-fatty liver, non-alcohol fatty liver disease, which is actually becoming more prevalent nowadays. These are a result of metabolic dysfunction, which again comes from the cellular dysfunction. Okay. If these go untreated, we then move in to disease, into diseases like prediabetes, diabetes, heart disease, dementia, Alzheimer's. They're actually calling dementia and Alzheimer's diabetes, type 3 diabetes, because your dysregulated blood sugar has such an impact on your brain, which we talked about first thing, right? Also, certain cancers and stroke, because overall, your body, if you have cellular dysfunction that has led to metabolic dysfunction, which is leading to disease, your body is becoming very unhealthy. And all of this is stemming from a dysregulated blood sugar. I know. So, what do we do? Well, good news is I gotcha. This is where we use PFC3. It's proteins, fats, carbs every 3 hours. Pretty easy to remember. But what I want you to know that it's not about cutting things out. It's about putting them together. Proteins, fats, and carbs are the three macronutrients, and they were meant to be eaten together. Okay, they were meant to be eaten together. When you eat them together, and your body, again, being a fuel as it goes machine every 3 hours, you keep your blood sugar stable. And here's why. The protein is going to help stabilize. The healthy fats are going to slow down your digestion, cushion your organs. And your carbs, they're crazy important. That's your energy source. It allows your body to make ATP, which is where your energy comes from, which is why when your blood sugar dips, you start craving carbohydrates because your body knows it needs glucose, it needs energy. And we've kind of trained ourselves that that means we should go eat something big and fast, and maybe it should have sugar, right? All carbs, except for the fiber ones, turn into glucose. So you actually don't ever need to eat a bite of sugar, and you could still spike your blood sugar. So just keep that in mind, okay? When you eat carbs alone, again, we talked about this with the apple, you get that blood sugar spike. But when you combine them all together, you stay in that green homeostasis. And that is the ultimate goal. That green homeostasis where our blood sugar is stable, that's where healing begins and continues to thrive. So it's not just what you're eating, but it's actually how you're eating it. Every 3 hours, eating a protein, a fat, and a carb in the same meal, paired together so that they can work together to support your body. So now we're going to look. This is actually just a sample meal plan. This is what my husband and I, this is pretty much the plan that we follow, that a lot of my clients follow. We do a lot of grab and go meals. He's a mailman, so he literally is always on the go. And even though I work from home or when I'm subbing, I don't have a lot of time to sit down to a gourmet meal. So if I'm grabbing and going, I'm stabilizing my blood sugar, I'm fueling my body as it goes, and I don't have to think super hard about it. Okay. So we're now going to look at the full picture. Tonight, we've talked about the brain, your behaviors, and your biology, and how they've been working together, just not really in your favor, right? But when we support all three, that's when everything starts to change. This is why we didn't talk about food first, because you can follow directions. But when we work on your thoughts, your self-talk, and your behaviors, that's when this becomes golden. Okay. And when everything starts to change, you won't be fighting yourself anymore. And like I said, that's exactly why I don't start just handing you a meal plan. Because if your brain and your body aren't supported, no plan, no matter how good it is, even this plan won't stick. So what I've done is built a way to support all three so that you can finally stop starting over. You don't need more discipline. You just need a better system. Okay. And so here's what I did. Now that you understand what's happening, now that you know it's not just your food, but it's your brain, your behaviors, and your biology working together, and that you know you need to support all three. So you're probably wondering, okay, well, that makes sense, but now what do I do? So I created something for you. It's called the last restart. And I named it that because most people I talk to, and myself included, aren't starting this for the first time, right? They're starting over, and more than likely, many times over. So, this guide is going to walk you through how to begin supporting your body without going back to the all or nothing cycle. It's simple, it's practical, and it's designed to help you start stabilizing your blood sugar in the right way that really works to support your body. Um, Let me go to the next slide, because you can download it at ambercontreras.com/LROC. It is a free guide. Um, there are other things that are available if you are interested in going deeper, but this is just a free guide. It's very informative, and it really gives you a good foundation of how to get started. You can download it, you can go through it at your own pace, and just start applying the things that we talked about today. I also know that whenever I start something new, support and not feeling alone is pretty important to me. And so if you are someone who doesn't want to do this alone, I also have a free online community. My private practice is called the Freedom Journey. So that's where the FJ comes from. It's ambercontreras.com/freedom or FJ community, which stands for Freedom Journey Community. It is a free online community. There are some resources in there. People can ask questions. And we talk about things. I post things, I'll post videos and information. And this is where we actually start living this lifestyle. All right. Whew, 37 minutes. I didn't have a time limit, but I was curious how long this would take. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here tonight and listening to a little bit about why you keep restarting and what the best way to solve that is. I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day. I would love for you to join the community. Let me know that you were at this training, and please download the free guide. Again, it's free. And I'm not going to check in on you and make sure that you did your homework, but it really is full of things that are going to help you stop restarting. It's called the last restart for a reason. All right. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you all later.